On this video, we're going to talk a little bit on this particular post that you might have seen that is going out there about a church in Pietermaritzburg, if I'm not wrong, which has been converted to a Shisanyama. If you don't know, you're outside this country, what is a Shisanyama? A Shisanyama, it's a place where they do like braai. Now, also the word braai is not a worldwide known word. A braai is like you see when you're doing the meat thing, you are there frying it, and a barbecue. In English, a barbecue. And so we call it a braai in South Africa. It's not a popular word all over the world. So knowing that very well, I had to give that small little explanation. And yes, as you can see, man went and got himself. This was supposed to be yesterday's video. So talk about this particular church, particularly in a certain angle. There has been an audience of people online who have been, you might have noticed this particular trend of talking about how churches worship, should there be drums in a church? It kind of brings it back to how I do content here. There are certain things that I choose not to have conversations about because I am aware that it's just an issue of preference. It's just merely preference. It's what I prefer over what another person would prefer. Particularly, let's say for instance, I could just simply make videos and just and just throw the video online. But I don't like that. I just don't take a video from a phone and just shoot and then throw the video online. I don't like that. It doesn't fit my preference. My preference is to have highly edited video and just lights, properly said. I prefer sticking on doctrinal matters because doctrinal matters, you still have to reconcile the doctrine part. No matter which church you're in, no matter what building you're in, no matter what type of worship you're engaging in, whether it be Hillsongy or it's, Zionish, or is that a word? It's a word here. And so those are all preferences sometimes, and it has nothing bearing to the worship of the person. One wants worship on the mountain according to John chapter number 4. Others want it in a particular location in Jerusalem. He says God seeks them that worship him in truth and in spirit. He's very clear in there. That idea of either preference or otherwise. God seeks true worship to be from a spiritual perspective. And so this story here highlights this, is that a church, according to the particular post, they said that this was an old church, it was vandalized, it was no longer in proper use. And so they got there, they fixed it up and whatnot. I'll be very interested to go and see how it actually looks. Which is why sometimes people get into the position of saying, why will a church cost 11 million? It's because that building has a lot more requirement than a building that might cost. Itende doesn't have, because every point is an exit point. Itende doesn't have. And so sometimes those conversations, they just have divisions which don't actually lead anywhere. Now, if you are passionate about those things, kudos. You can go over there and be on that particular conversation. For me, I choose to stick on doctrinal matters and also character issues for Christian leaders. Particularly even when you look at Corinthians, he has an issue with how biblical characters are portrayed, or leadership within the biblical space are actually portrayed. And so when I question character, you can see Paul questioning character issues and stuff like that. When you question position, how leaders tend to see themselves, you see that in Corinthians, when believers belittle themselves to particular points of belief, well, it's not even to the standard of what the Bible puts out. Paul takes issues with that even in Galatians. And so when you see 99% of the content that I do here, it's those 2 points. It's leadership roles and also church's view on this particular thing, whether it be a doctrinal thing or whatnot. So the things that I do here, though it might look it's actually very biblical, okay? It's exactly what you see Paul doing, questioning either the character of the believer, or you are seeing a particular leadership role which is not properly portrayed in thingy. Those are the things that I choose to stick on, because no matter what church you go to, you will have to reconcile those things. But overly obsessing yourself about church buildings to say that this building should be thingy, which is a very huge subject within certain particular roles within church thingy. How people should worship. They should put a string on the on the violin. Some of these subjects don't actually benefit the growth. But if you're addressing how church leadership should be, if you're addressing character of the believer, you are addressing their areas of growth. So for those people that are still watching this channel, but not clear about, but Ricky, how is this to the benefit of thing? If we are calling out a person who's a charlatan, we are telling the other one who is a believer what not to do. We are telling the other one who's a believer what he should not accept. Do not accept behavior like that from a charlatan or a leader that you actually hold in high respect. Now tell me what you think. It doesn't harm the church that that a building has been taken over by a Shisanyama. Fry your way forward. But if I do manage to get actually to Pietermaritzburg, to that particular location, I will definitely go to it. I want to see how it looks. Do check the channel, and I'll see you later on.